first grand finals for the European region have arrived. With Oxygen and Karmine Corp writing their own stories, the question is, which one is telling a tale of triumph?
Triumph is very much on the line here, as this is also going to be the first time we're going to see a new winner other than Moist or BDS since Fall Regional 3 last season, back when Endpoint won with Seiko on their side. Can Vatira technically keep a third of that record going, or is it going to fall to Oxygen to tear it away from his grasp?
It really goes to show the beautiful open way this season is developing. Every season in the RLCS now has developed so many players capable of achieving so much with nothing to stop them but the limit of their own skill. And the limit of these two teams' skill is impossibly high. Both of them have made it in the semi-finals looking pretty simple, and it's Oxygen that start off better in the finals.
I mean, that 50 going perfectly centrist, and I think you'd expect to see from Jorius. Near enough every time he's got a 50 so far, including yesterday, including through the entirety of Swiss, which Oxygen managed to sweep, they were popping out exactly where any of his teammates were, and him and Oli have linked up time and time again for plays like that. Again, though, Archie on the receiving end of Oli's pass, and we've just seen how well Exotic and the boys performed earlier on versus Moist.
Oh.
But only missing that shot, you have to call into question, can they handle what Oxygen put up earlier in the day?
I mean, the pressure is completely different once you're in the grand finals, no matter how much experience you have. And these are players for Oxygen that haven't won a regional in a very long time, if they ever have, as Casey come forward. Not that one off the crossbar. The biggest question mark for Oxygen right now, this late stage, is Casey continue to come on attack. Itachi puts someone onto the backboard. Will Oxygen be able to see this one away? Yes, they will, and it's 50-50. But the man I was going to say, Oli, he's never finished that high in tournaments like this. He has peaked in third, but that was only once. Like I say, Stumpy, the grand final's completely different. The pressure is higher, and that is why KC, they equalize.
You talk about players that have performed. Vatira, he has won it all at some point. Back in the spring major, he took it alongside Moist, the team that Esports taken down in his brand new French-Belgian mix-up squad. And there were question marks around that move. Is Vatira just going to a worse team? Why would Moist ever change? Why is that decision to be made? But my word, they have been phenomenal. They have been a wall of force that anybody is going to struggle to come up against. And having such a dominant win over Moist is something that I don't think many people saw. Nobody on the desk, apart from Shogun, actually saw that happening as well. So it was an incredible feat for them so far, and a win that will absolutely be the cherry on top.
Well, Oxygen are going to come forward again with Archie in the corner. He tries to get in the end of his own hit into the corner. After getting it past Exotic, did well, but couldn't quite steer it goalwards. Jories have a huge pinch there for Oxygen. We're seeing a lot of pinches so far this regional. It seems that when teams are put on the back foot, they're able to just send that ball right down to the other end more and more consistently. Now the mechanic is really starting to be excelled at by these great players. Now only a mechanical player. Archie's in the center, wants to get there. Realised that Itachi would just about get there in time. I think it's fair to say, Stumpy, that so far KC are meeting their match in this first game.
Yeah, it's been a lot more midfield play, and although we had that early goal going in for Oli from the 50 off Jorius, it's eventually found itself 2 minutes later at a 1-1 scoreline. I mean, both these teams are going to be wanting to put as much forward as they can, but when you look at how Karmine Corp have how they have approached this event so far, their defense has been ridiculous. They are currently first in goals allowed with over 1.1 per game. But then they've also had the most shots against with 5.5 per game. So they are defending. They are then sending them also down the opposite side. And Jorius, he is the man who is going to need to try and push his way through, because he has scored a goal in the last 10 games and has got 16 total with just around 1.6 per game. So that defense, although it's been incredible, they are coming up against the scariest attacker that they could in the form of the Dutchman.
Well, there's a scary attack of KC's own. Itachi's going to put this one on and try and keep it going. It was saved a couple of times there by Oxygen. Exotic to the backboard. Oli's already there. Oxygen happy to defend when the time is right, but always want to come forward. I love their quarterfinals up against Gamers First. Such an aggressive style of play. Then they came up against the more defensive quadrant earlier. That was KC, the balance that they showed against Moist earlier on today just made them unable to deal with it. Jorius in the air. Wants to find Archie, but Vatira is there, streaming to his own goal. Itachi gets the catch, and it is quite a slow piece of play now. The ball just lingering on the floor. Is anyone able to control it and send it to a teammate? Archie tries to flick that one along to Jorius, but Vatira will send it wide.
And if anybody missed that Oxygen game versus Quadrant earlier, it was phenomenal. It was a show of just the determination shown by Oxygen. It was a 4-0. 2 of them were overtimes. In the other game, that managed to go to just 1 goal difference. And in the first, had a 3-goal differential. So it came down to Oxygen being so pressure heavy, and they managed to bring it out at the best moment they could have done.
Joreuz has to beat Vatira here. They both leave it, actually, but Vatira is able to get it away. Itachi, the unsung hero, as we established earlier on the desk, was doing all sorts of damage to the goalkeeper. But sadly for him, Vatira couldn't quite get it round. Now it is Itachi. Sets it up for Vatira again, involved in everything, the Moroccan.
He stays on it.
Waiting. He does. He just is constantly on that ball, constantly putting threads for his team. But sadly for him, he's going to have to go back and start again from the corner.
It's Joreuz, though, challenging yet again, trying to get a couple more shots on target. Archie up against Vatira in the corner. Exotic can beat him in, but just above the crossbar. Sees Itachi then swooping in to try and get a shot of his own. Archie to save it away. Now in the midfield, Archie faced off versus Vatira, and Exotic can just whip round, picks up that 100 boost, then goes on the counter-attack of his own. Oli pre-jumping. We saw that from him so frequently yesterday.
Itachi gets it over the top of one and the second touch as well. Archie was saying earlier in his interview he didn't want to get flip reset on by Relating Wave, but he was able to block that one as well. Now it's Itachi, 10 seconds left. Karmine Corp in this first game, very strong indeed. Can they make their pressure count? One touch for Exotic could be all it takes. Falls to Itachi. Suddenly it's Oxygen looking good until that demo from Vatira will take us to overtime in game number 1.
If you're going to be removing anybody from the pitch, it's Joreuz when he works his way down that opposite side. He was waiting for the ball to come down from the pass. Doesn't manage to in the end. And Vatira removing him from the pitch is the exact right thing to do. Exotic up for the double. Just about blocked out by the man we were just speaking about. Joreuz saving and shooting to the best of his ability.
That is such a good read from Joreuz, and it sets Oxygen on their way. Archie, Exotic clears long, but Joreuz, look how much boost he has. He can do whatever he wants with this ball. Just tempting in Itachi, then getting it over the top of him. Great play from him. Oli goes long. Oxygen just looking to camp in the blue half of the pitch right now. His touch isn't ideal. Actually, it was, because Oli wasn't coming in. And now suddenly KC can dribble away.
There's a nice fake as well. I believe it was from Oli faking to Archie then take the shot. We've seen that happen quite a bit in North America, and these goals typically would be going into Joreuz whenever he shoots, but Vatira managing to save it away and attach with that possession. But yeah, going for those fakes, you see one player go up, they're then going, okay, I'm going to shoot this on the man, keep looking at me, and then a teammate will then swoop him from underneath and take the real shot. Covering them is near impossible to do as a defender, and it's just a different style that we're seeing start to emerge.
These are two teams with very good overtime records so far in this tournament. 75% won for each of them. So confidence we're going for all of these players and both of these teams. She sends that one back into the center as Vatira readily has, but so is Joreuz. Now they can just try and burn some time. Archie's there, sending out wide, but the clearance is not quite right. Vatira catches. He's got so much control of the ball. He does a flip reset. Exotic coming in. Oh, but not quite there. Itachi, though, what a spin that is. Only his 50-50 game is strong enough, and the ball goes agonizingly over the Oxygen goal line.
We were mentioning just how stalwart the defense was for KC, but that attack, they're just continuing to pummel those shots towards the net, increasing their goals per game average, or the shots per game average, rather. Chance though for Oli to pass it across to Archie. Archie does make a connection. But his speed wasn't quite there for it. Didn't know if it was going to make its way through. Vatira going for his former teammate's signature move there. Whenever Joyo goes for a musty, you know they're feeling confident. So Vatira wants to be taking that signature, using it for his own. This time, though, not going to be winning any competitions with it, as no goal goes in as a result.
I thought it must be Vatira's former teammate for a second when you said that, but no, gosh, that really, I don't remember that.
Yeah, Joyo invented the musty flick. You wouldn't believe it.
That is amazing. Exotic, I thought he was going to go for one himself, but he couldn't quite get the flip reset to earn it. Here's Oli for Oxygen, an org that came into the scene at the start of RLCS. Never come better than third as an org. They might be winning this tournament. They win the first game in this grand finals.
A negative angle with such a positive result manages to just flick it back behind him. The slightest backflip throws Exotic completely off guard, and our hype chamber lights up in green and black as Oxygen. They take the first game in our inaugural grand finals here in Europe.
One of my big questions of this Oxygen roster, they sort of had it all their own way in this tournament so far, at least on the pitch as well, the way they're controlling each and every game, right? My question about them was, would they be able to win when they're maybe not playing quite as well as their opponent? And I would say, I mean, Vatira had 10 shots for goodness sake. They had 17 shots overall, did Karmine Corp, and there were 9 saves from Oxygen. That was a smash and grab from them, and I feel like it's so important they're able to win games where their backs are against the wall.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you guys were worried, my camera, I think, is fixed. I think we're okay. I'm not going to jinx it. I'm touching wood. I think we're going to be fine. But if I go blue, screenshot it. It's a bit funny, isn't it? And it's just the blue wall coming to invade, so that's fine. It's very thematic, I suppose. And we're on Aqueduct. What a world.
It also goes green sometimes for oxygen, so you are balanced.
I am, as all things should be, cool, Carl, as they should be. We were speaking earlier about how Oli managed to peak at third in spring last year. Archie, this if he manages to win it, is going to be his first regional win since RLCS X in Winter Regional number 2, and his first grand final since Fall Regional 3 last season. It's been such a long time since any of these guys managed to take any of these accolades home. And what an important season to do so, especially considering the third regional is going to be invite only and so important for those major spots.
And that is the beauty of a new season. New teams all over the place. It's a fresh start for all of these players to really show what they're capable of. The late stage of the tournament with each one of these players. As Joris goes for a gigantic free jump. It might still pay off if Oli can come in and keep his shot down, but he couldn't quite. This is where they all feel they deserve to be, and pre-jumps like that will be their evidence.
If Oli managed to keep his foot over the ball there, it would have just found its way down a touch more, but instead it manages to fall to the KC offense. 37 boost, the fake has to come in. Fligs over 2, the pass can't quite come out as Oli recovers that play. Archie actually leaving that one with 30 boost, but then falls to Joris in the corner, and him and Archie then managed to get the pinch away, but Itachi just lurks and waits and finds that ball. Vatira in the air. The first minute gone without incident.
Vatira is really feeling it though. 10 shots in that first game despite losing it is very silly. And even there, dribbling it past a couple of players, it didn't quite lead to a goal for Karmine Corp, but he's looking incredibly hot. However, oh my goodness, he's got that out. How did that not... I mean, my camera was on Itachi. What happened there?
I don't know. That's the one where I'm going to go to Twitter later and look at the replay that someone's got a screenshot of, and then it's going to farm impressions because of how close that was. That was absurdly close, and they managed to keep it level. KC, that defense, we mentioned it earlier, is phenomenal.
It's the blue wall. It actually is them. There are billion fans watching this, sitting in that goal line, keeping that ball out, blowing it out, making sure it doesn't go in. Are they able to do it again? Oli's coming in. Celtics should be able to just shepherd this one away. And Vatira gets a huge demo in the center. Karmine Corp survived earlier. Now they've taken the lead.
Hardly a worm burn, and more of a worm patter on the header as it just rolls slowly down the pitch. Itachi, though, taking that shot exactly when he needed to. At a mighty 46 miles an hour, Joris, even though he spawned, was never going to be able to get back in time. That demo coming in at the perfect time absolutely surrenders their defense to whatever Itachi sends towards their net.
This time it's been Oxygen who've had more of the attack, but find themselves behind. That might change here with Oli. More amazing saves there from the blue wall. Archie to the ceiling. Joris wants it, so does Archie. That was slightly slow communication from Oxygen. They have to make sure they're not getting carried away. They are likely to score in this game the way things are going so far. They do not need to rush things. Karmine Corp, to their credit, are defending absolutely heroically. Can they still do it? Yes, they can. Joris, another miss. Archie's turn now. He wants to get the second touch to see if a teammate, does he? He's not able to, Stumpy. We can barely slow down. But Karmine Corp are just keeping them at arm's length.
Then when you get a free shot like that from Joris, I think that just needs to be on target. He had the boost to do so as well. We've seen him literally do them earlier today. He just needs to be getting them on target if he's going to want to continue this run that they've had versus Karmine Corp. If that was a drawing goal, we'll be seeing a little bit of a different play style come up from both these teams, but instead it falls again to just this slightly clustered attack coming in for Oxygen.
Oh yeah, very clustered indeed. They're all on top of each other there. Happening one too many times so far for Oxygen and Karmine Corp. We know that if your attack is not flawless and precise, they will punish it down the other end. Itachi is as capable as anyone of doing that. Exotic has a pass if he wants it.
Oh, the idea.
He tried to force it in the end. It was a nice idea, but Vatira just too far forward in the end.
Yeah, that through ball just kind of became lobbing the ball at your face, by the way, mate.
Big pass.
In the end, he wasn't able to header it into the net, which is a shame.
Couldn't think fast enough, could Vatira, which is rare to say. The man's got very good reflexes. What a touch from Joris. How has he got that one behind him? Again, these negative angle redirects from him are really surprising Karmine Corp over and over.
Exotic trying to find that right wing, but instead only finds Archie, which is not the man that you're going to want on the ball. Exotic rotates back round and jumps at Itachi. Oli takes that same initiative, but instead pushes it further along. Joris with 20 boost gets the flip reset, but no contact on the ball. Now Exotic with a dunk with 0 boost and Archie trying to trip him up, and with the boost steal, Archie shuts down that ingenious play from Exotic.
That is so disappointing from the former Semper man that he had no boost there after that mammoth dunk. He wasn't able to do anything from it apart from watch the ball and his dreams just drifting away in front of him. Now he's suddenly got 50 seconds still to hold on, though. Still 1 goal to the good of Karmine Corp. Shimon going to come forward. They've had all sorts of shots this game. Still no goals. This could be the one. Joreas wants to place over the top of Exotic, who had got back to defend, and Archie, it's 50-50, goes into the corner. Oli is here. Joreas, does he have the pass? Does he try and redirect it? Nothing's quite working. Karmine Corp looks so good, Stumpy, when they have a lead to hold.
Yeah, they're doing a great job of making sure that, these shots are coming on. They're quite happy to absorb as many shots as they possibly can. However, they are making a terrible challenge of it for Oxygen to be getting one just to level it back up. Bear in mind that they get 5-6 goals per game against them, and they're shooting down the opposite side. They allow a lot, but my gosh, they score a lot as well.
I mean, there was a side from Joreas. I think that was just the problem. I think maybe without that, maybe he was just too far in the centre and gave up on the play. I'm not sure. It could have been that Oxygen were overcommitting, needing a goal. You can't really blame them, but it doesn't matter too much right now. All that does matter is that score at the top of your screen. 2-0 to Karmine Corp, and they will be taking game number 2. 3-0 now. Looking even better for KC.
Before that goal, there was only Itachi had any shots on net, and there were 3 for him, and he scored 2 of them. And now Exotic is 1 for 1 for goals and shots. Batira has got 0 shots so far. They've shot incredibly rarely, but they've managed to have 10 saves on their net. They've allowed around 14 goals, 14 shots as well against them. Yeah, 14, wow. 14 shots against them too. It has been a really strong showing from Oxygen offensively, but Carmine's defense has just been there at every single step.
I think Karmine did so well in making that game the way they wanted it to look. They want it to be a more structured form of Rocket League. Oxygen trying to chuck the house at the Karmine Corp goal. As long as they can weather that storm in each and every game, then Karmine Corp should be okay. And they did exactly that right there, as you mentioned, Stumpy. They needed, 11 saves along the way. So I'm not sure how sustainable that'll be going into the next game. But in that on an Aquadome, everything worked out perfectly for the KC plan.
Yeah, absolutely. Now that's 1-1 in this series, and we're seeing it was Joreas. Timeout. Oh wait. I missed it. I was looking elsewhere.
I think it was Joreas coming out of the goal, and because I looked in the opposite corner just at the last second as well. Sorry, everyone. We were looking in the worst place when that replay came in. We're the bad guys.
I'm still going to look at Twitter. That's all. I'm still doing it. I still have to. Anybody gets that screenshot, farm away. You've got everyone's permission. We want to see how close that was to going in. But there were still 2 goals scored regardless. And as I think is fair, no timeout has been called. Both these teams at 1 apiece. We might see it in 1 or 2 games' time, depending on how it ends up going. However, no timeout called this time.
Game number 3. Now, if Oxygen can get an early lead here, suddenly KC's game plan from that last game completely falls apart, and they will have to be the ones chasing. One of the best teams in Europe at having the lead, Karmine Corp. How good are they when they have Oxygen coming at them, trying to double their lead against them? And they have to come out of their own half themselves more often than not. Here of the catch there. It could be an early lead for Oxygen that we were talking about, but Joreas, the ball just sails over the top of him. Early's got a couple of touches. Itachi, a flawless read. Yet again, he breaks up everything that Oxygen offer against him.
I mean, it's been 25 seconds, and there's already passing play starting to emerge, with Batira being caught a little bit off guard alongside Exotic. It continues to be aggression from Oxygen that's doing bits against the back line of KC. Itachi trying to swipe across this time. The 100 boost stolen by Joreas, taking away that insurance push that KC were probably relying on with another flip reset. This man's getting them wherever he can. And something that I've enjoyed seeing on social media is Jack. Apparently Jack, the fellow who moved to North America. Remember him?
Mm-hmm. I remember.
Yeah, the traitor. He ended up, he's been tweeting this entire day, being like, Joreas, my word, man. You got 1.8 earlier on in your series. It has been ridiculous. And despite that, I wonder if Jack is going to be tweeting out against the team that has beaten him a lot when he was over here in Europe, in Karmine Corp, and also, namely, Batira.
Yeah, I mean, it was Joreas that was pretty slow there. The ball was directly above him, and he felt like he could get it and beat Karmine Corp to the ball. It's pretty much never happening. So a slight breakdown in communication and rotations from Oxygen right there. And Karmine Corp suddenly have exactly what they want. They have that lead. They have something to defend and hold on to. It might be too exotic. Clean strike on the ball. Best he's ever come is top 8. He wants this win so badly.
It's a clean stroke on the ball, but Archie just completely whiffs that touch. And it was Itachi, sure, going for the shot. He has to block both, but It's an outplay by Itachi. It's a miss by Archie. It's a little bit of both, if I'm being completely honest, from what I could see. And in the end, it falls to that goal. Exotic just hitting as hard as he can, scores it under the crossbar, brilliant play and great rotations round. A chance again for Itachi to shoot against the net. Exotic this time gets the shot credited, but Archie in the perfect spot.
I mean, Archie was in the perfect spot, but that's still a weak shot right there from Exotic. I think he assumed there'd be somebody challenging it, so went up for the ball a little bit early, lost all ability to really get some power and pace and precision on the ball by going up so early. And do you know what he does, Stumpy? He makes up for it from the ceiling.
Just smashes it, sees that the Brock's coming in, goes up for the dunk on the ball, and then bangs it down. Manages to get the bounce. If that goes too high, Archie saves. If it goes too low, then you see Oli come in and be able to save it as well. Instead, he threads the needle, allows the bounce, and it goes lovely. That placement, it didn't look great, but it was wonderful.
Keep an eye out next time Exotic misses a bit of a sitter, because his ratio of missing a sitter then scoring a banger is currently 100%. So just something to watch out for, everybody. 3-0 to Karmine Corp. Oxygen, what you got? You got a demo now. Jory is almost over the top. Exotic, not just getting the block when the edgeable was on, but then getting the second touch. Brilliance from him. He stepped up, but finally he's been breached. Oli scores, and Oxygen are back in this game.
I think Oli got bumped here by Archie too. That back pass was instrumental to the play happening. Then it was the 1-2, and then Archie smashes into the back of Oli, pull shots him in, and manages to get that goal, cutting that deficit down to just 2 now. Already goals flying in 4 within 2 minutes, on every 30 seconds. But Karmine Corp have been the main beneficiaries of that aggression.
Or a snooker shot, as I like to call it.
I've never heard of that sport.
Archie's on the backboard. Itachi's coming in. Will Casey slow down a little bit now and try and hold what they've got? Not if Exotic's got anything to do about it. He is just beaming in. He is so creative and so good in attack, and it's 4-1 for Casey.
Another dunk, another aggression, another banger from Exotic. Sends it past that back line in its entirety. And you see the players just stop. Like, we couldn't have defended that any better. It was only tapping out a touch too far and leaving that goal side completely open. No car was in the way. Great pushing by Exotic, but only now with a chance after demoing the keeper. Archie, in fairness, had to get the touch on it. Otherwise, that clear comes out a lot nicer.
Oh, man, that's so close as well at that near post.
The demo was great.
Demo was so good. It could be another chance. Jory's going for another redirect. He's being closed down now. Then a demo flying in. This is the fastest we've seen KC play. They are now rising up, playing Oxygen at their own game. And frankly, Stumpy, they're doing it better than they are.
Oxygen, I hope they're not going to take that. I hope they want to just be pushing harder against them. Say, well, you think that's speedy? Then you know nothing. You have a nothing on us. We're going to go supersonic, and Itachi in the sky rises like a rocket, and he comes down like a missile, but instead is saved away by Jory as a shot just below the crossbar. Archie saves it away into the corner.
Karmine Corp having all sorts of shots on the Oxygen goal. Oxygen need to get this ball out of there as soon as possible. He was a little bit slow there yet again. Itachi using all the momentum to win that cleanly with Exotic underneath it. Jory is, you feel like for Oxygen, they have to get a wonder goal. They have to get something solo to wake them up, because even these regular passing plays, the nice rotations, the speedy shots, they're not working for them.
Something different potentially on the menu, potentially fixed as well by having one of those fabled timeouts. Seeing how effective they can be. I think in Europe yesterday, D-Rex is going to tell me if I get this wrong, but it was something like 80% in Europe, like the success, because it's so early on in the season. But Archie in the midfield, isn't quite. Nightmare. Archie isn't quite able to get a decent touch on that one, but continuing that push from Oxygen, and the bumps coming in now too. Both of them missing, unfortunately, but we're seeing the ideas find their way into the brains of Oxygen, unable to get anything from it just yet until Oli in the midfield is able to get something further. And I've just seen the directors typing 85.71% overtime wins or timeout wins. Yes, I'm a genius.
You're a genius. Oxygen need a little bit of genius of their own. It's just, I mean, even the game they won in game number 1, KC were all over them, if I recall correctly. So each game on the balance of things could have gone to KC so far. So 100% after this. Even if, in my opinion, they have some miraculous comeback, which is looking very unlikely with the ball being barely catching their own goal and hitting both posts and being blocked on the goal line, I'd say that Oxygen are in desperate need of one of those magical timeouts right now. Well, in 15 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, calling it now will be big. But, yeah, something needs to change. Maybe it just comes down to You know, the boys having a little bit more of a chat, being able to break down the game more, because bear in mind, versus Quadrant, they were able to do pretty much everything that they wanted to take from the series. They were able to push as hard as they wanted, or they were able to be as defensive as they wanted at whichever point and whichever playstyle they fancied going for. Instead, KC are clearly demanding the respect they deserve on this pitch, and Karmine win yet another one. It is 2-1, and Oxygen are taking that timeout.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense at this point. It's looking like Karmine are going to go off and win this tournament fairly comfortably right now, the way they're playing. And
I think that's the thing, like, taking it when you're only one down, I think in any other situation, might look a little bit silly. And it might be a bit like, guys, what are you doing? You're only one down. What's happening? But actually, when you look at how well Karmine are just dealing with it, I don't see Oxygen coming back into this series unless they call this timeout and just shut that down at the source. And that's exactly what Billy is going to be attempting to do now.
And you can see why Itachi for Karmine Corp is the player that sort of his brilliance gets swept under the rug somewhat, because this series has been a great example of it. We had Vatira. He was the first to step up, and he was getting it past Oxygen. He was hitting his touches. The mechanics were working for him. He doesn't even slow down, but Exotic catches him up. The man who has the least experience at the top level, top level, should I say, out of anyone on this pitch, he looked like the best player on that pitch. In that game, it wasn't just dunks, it wasn't just challenges, it was beautiful mechanical plays. And what I liked as well from Exotic is, I think it was the first goal he got, it was after a poor finish. So instead of getting down on himself and thinking, oh no, I've messed it up, he comes back and he gets a brilliant finish from the ceiling. And that's a champion's mentality. Karmine Corp are an org that demand champions, and we're seeing from the players right now that they can stand up to that.
Oxygen's vibe has to be, we can win this. Obviously, we can win this. We went through G1, who did an incredible job previously when they were going through the Swiss. We 3-0'd the Swiss. We have not lost coming up to this point. We beat G1. We then beat Quadrant 4-0, a team that beat BDS yesterday. Obviously, we can beat Karmine Corp. But Karmine Corp's journey, my gosh, it has been phenomenal. They took down Moist, a team obviously where we saw Vatira on last season, where they won a major together. And yet, this change for Vatira, despite the questions, has been something that is extraordinary. It has been inspirational for players where they think, oh, maybe is top 8 really my peak at Worlds? Vatira absolutely does not think so.
No. Yeah, I mean, Vatira is on a one-man mission to avenge that top 8 at Worlds. I feel like all the other quarterfinalists, they'll be disappointed, of course, but they'll be thinking, of Worlds this is. They'd have been thinking like, oh, what a great performance, when they dust themselves down and they get over that disappointment. Vatira, and indeed Rise and Joyo as well, nothing of the sort. They would still be so hurt about what happened against Furia at that World Championships. And that is why when Vatira makes this decision to move over to Karmine Corp, everyone talks about the fact that it's, a massive French org and he's French and it sort of makes sense in that regard. But he would not have done it if he didn't think that he, Exotic and Itachi could win a World Championship. That'll be all he's thinking about. We're seeing from Karmine Corp so far, they're capable of doing that. But Oli's 50-50 game, Stumpy, tell me about it.
Oli, you are filth incarnate. You get that free flip, you then get the flip reset, you then go to the floor, and then you pinch it alongside Itachi. Yes, please. That is a cracking start. 13 seconds of coming from the timeout Oxygen called, and they get a goal. That's exactly what the doctor ordered, and that is music to their ears, I am sure. Billy, you've done a good one.
I mean, that's the magic of a tactical timeout. If anybody watching this is ever struggling in ranked, walk away for 2 minutes, come back, you'll be better. I guarantee it.
And get Coach Billy to talk you through while you're back.
And absolutely get Coach Billy to talk you through. Great save there from Archie. Trapped on their own goal line for a second, are Oxygen, but they have managed to get it away well, but it only falls to Vatira, whose turn is it now to step up for Karmine Corp. It was almost Itachi, but that's a great touchdown from Oxygen. And suddenly Karmine Corp are being sent back, having to drive back to their own goal. There's a chance for Oxygen.
Open.
That's a powerful, man. Chat for a minute, you turn into a superhuman.
It was that corner bounce where Vatira just had to react nicely, and under the pressure of Jorias, he had to make something ugly from it. Archie following up in the shadow of Jorias. It's quite a big one, it's a tall lad, and he manages to squeak it in the opposite side. It was great pressure from Oxygen, and again, Cole, you were saying that KC were using their speed against them, and they were going even faster than Oxygen were. I think now we're really seeing that rise where Oxygen are wanting to be the first to every single ball, to every single player, to make sure that they haven't got a single moment of peace.
Well, based on the evidence there, they also want to beat their teammates to the ball, which isn't quite as highly recommended.
Healthy competition.
That's what we'll call it. That's what Billy's saying right now. Itachi with a save, still shots coming in from Oxygen. Matira's trapped in his corner. He does well to get away with the ball and force a 50-50 at the very least. But look how boost-starved he is. Can't do anything with it. Meanwhile, Oli's coming down. He's got plenty in the tank to play with. He's still got the bumps and demos on his way out. Casey get it away, but now it's so different. Every clearance is going to an Oxygen player. They have full boost control. Maybe that demo's going to change it.
Oli just respawning, suddenly has a ball to defend, and Vatira, he's got a ball to block. Going from that demo and immediately seeing Vatira barrel down on you is a little bit hellish. Oli, what else was he going to do? Vatira, my word, from the skies, he's the surprise.
I mean, Oli had only just spawned as well, so he got demoed, spawned back, saw the ball coming towards him, and thought, oh, what a lucky spawn. What a convenient moment that was. Luck's really on... Oh, Vatira's just dunked me and he's going to score.
I wouldn't be surprised if Vatira was eclipsed by the ball as well. But Jorius, he wants to eclipse anything that we're seeing coming out of KC right now. A couple of great shots, but that defense yet again holding incredibly firm for KC.
Massive, massive saves. Just desperately knocking it to the side from the goal line. Oxygen desperately close to restoring their 2-goal lead. Archie from the wall, he jumps off, he gets his flip reset, wants to go over the top of Itachi, but it is the Moroccan that closes him down again. Torres can't do anything there, so Karmine Corp having to do defending, they're doing it very well. It's Oxygen now that have to be careful, in my opinion, Stumpy, because they can so easily overcommit and give away this second goal, especially with double commits.
Yeah, double commits aren't ever going to be the solution, especially when KC are so as well put together as they currently are. That ball flicking over the top of Vatira, moving Joris from the pitch. Archie can't be out exotic that time, and so Vatira is in the sky completely solo. But with that mess up on the ceiling, his reset was gained, but his position absolutely wasn't as he just goes flying into that back corner.
Every time Vatira gets a dribble, he just gets it past at least one player while keeping the ball, sometimes two. He is looking terrifying right now for Karmine Corp. And Oxygen have to close him down as fast as possible. Do not let him get control of the ball on his car. At some point, he's going to do it, and it's going to lead to a goal for Karmine.
I mean, Vatira looks so authoritative. Whenever he has control of the ball, it's going wherever he wants it to. If there's someone in his way, he'll pop it high and then demo below. It's something that you don't get from many players, where they absolutely command respect on every touch that they make. And a great send down pitch by Exotic there to try and make up a little bit of ground. Final 90 seconds is going to be seeing... It's going to be opened rather by a push from Oxygen. That commit coming in, Vatira isn't able to get it too much further than just Exotic on his own back line. He's deadly, and it's time for KC to push, otherwise this game falls away from them, and then we go to 2-all. Oxygen would be very happy about that, especially as they continue to conform from those timeout stats.
Vatira does have a chance to hit the ball cleanly now. Can he get over the top of Jory as he can? Archie's coming in to have another go. Gets it there for Oxygen. Nervous times for OXG. Archie wants to get this quick reset on the bump. Maybe it's past the time. Oli could maybe give them the breath they need, and he does it. And it all comes from Archie.
That's a sigh of relief as the insurance pays out. Itachi's bumped out of the way from the air dribble off Archie, and Oli's got a completely free net. Takes it so safely that it bounces a little bit before it finds its way into 2-goal difference now. Oxygen are taking a bit more control of this game.
I'll tell you what, the one thing I've noticed, that every time Vatira gets the ball, players are cutting rotation in order to charge him down because of what we were saying earlier, how hot his dribbling was. That does mean that Oxygen aren't going to be able to just rotate this one away. They have to keep attacking the ball, so it's going to be difficult for Oxygen. 45 seconds is going to seem like a very long time to get back into this series, especially if the goal flies in now, but Joris has won it, teased Vatira in, spat him out, and made it 4-1 Oxygen.
Just perfect positioning from Joris there as double commit comes in. Oli thankfully doesn't make a touch as far as Joris is concerned, because then it falls to him to just send it from his own half. KC had to send everything, otherwise they were going to lose it 3-1 regardless. It literally does not matter if you lose 3-1 or 4-1. You may as well try to make it 3-2 or 3-all at the minimum. So Oxygen looking very much like the people that are going to be walking away from this game a little bit happier, and that timeout from Billy has done brilliant work.
I mean, this is the first game in this series where Oxygen have looked like the Oxygen they have been in the rest of this tournament. They've been in control. Their touches have been finding each other, and it's not necessarily large swathes of control of the ball, like actually having it in possession. It's more the fact that when they try something, it tends to work. You know, they're racing their opponents to the ball and beating them, and they are just constantly living on the edge of scoring something scary. It was an Oxygen-style game. The room's been oxygenated as we now go to 2-2 in this best of 7.
Even as I think we would have expected it to be honest. Like, we thought this was going to be a very close series, whatever it was in the end. And with Karmine Corp and Oxygen going 2 apiece, it makes sense in my little monkey brain. I was very impressed with how Oxygen managed to turn it around and tackle that game compared to the rest of the series. And the fact that, they managed to score out 10 goals is 10 shots. Oh my gosh, I keep missaying. They managed to get themselves 10 shots with that 40% shooting. It's above average. They've got to be happy about it. And it's something that they can be taking forward into the upcoming games too. Karmine Corp, I think it shined a little bit at the end of that game that their speed is still there and their speed should absolutely be utilized. They were just shut down a bit more in that game when Oxygen managed to wrangle some of that pressure back. But Karmine Corp, if they can take it back, be even faster, chuck their faces at more of these balls that come their way, then I can see the favors and the tides turning.
Karmine Corp will be very happy that last game was over. From the off, it was Oxygen's. I mean, we had that early lead that was given to them by Oli with the dunk from the ceiling as well. So everything went Oxygen's way in that last one. I think at this point, there'll be no alarm bells ringing for Karmine Corp because in general, so much of this final has gone their way. If they lose this one in a similar way, then perhaps we'll see their timeout.
Yeah.
That's one for the future. That's one for the next few minutes. But now, we've got 5 minutes ahead of us on Wasteland.
It's also something to consider is that Oxygen they've not burned their timeout. They've used it absolutely perfectly, but they have now used that timeout. They don't have any more extra minutes they're able to take. They might, in fact, be preying on Karmine Corp to take one a little bit later on, because if things start to go their way, they want to make sure that they can reiterate what it is that they have to do to regain that control that they found in game number 4.
Oli's up. He's found the ceiling, and he's also found Vatira. Archie and Exotic, all sorts of players charging down that ball, but the 50-50 game is won by Karmine Corp.
Good idea.
Oh, that was so near to what would have been a glorious pinch. Karmine Corp are almost able to keep their attack going, but sadly for them, it comes to nothing.
Pinches really have been the meta in this regional, right? Like, in the Fall Open over in North America as well, we saw a couple of pinches and deliberate team plays for it too. I remember theorizing years and years ago, like back in 2016, whatever it was, teams will eventually be able to pinch it off each other instead of just the wall, and it will be incredible. And I'm excited now that we're finally seeing that really start to be more prevalent at this level, because I remember there being that theory of, you want to be staying in a bit of a Venn diagram with your teammates and passing it across from your respective circles. Oli getting the goal from the pass of Archie. I'll talk about pinches in a minute because that was just a classic passing play.
It was a classic passing play. You're talking about 2016 as well. That one would have lit up the halls of 2016's top plays. It was a classic infield pass and a classic finish. And it's 1-0 Oxygen once again. Things continue to go right for them. Vatira has the ball in front of his own goal. Supremely in control, of course. Somehow gets it into the Oxygen corner when he was being challenged by 3 players. Gets an assist from it. How has Vatira done so much from so little there?
Vatira makes a mountain out of a molehill, and on top stands King Itachi. That shot from that pass, the pass is everything. Itachi just had to tap it in right at the end. Wonderful play. Vatira is as skillful as any footballer you'll see on the pitch.
It's just wild to me that, if I'm in that position, I'm thinking get rid of the ball, panic. Oh my goodness, what's happening? Somebody help me, I run out of boost. The million thoughts and combinations going through your mind. Vatira was thinking, how can I turn this into an attacking play? Boggles my brain, Stumpy Goblin. Now they're carrying on again. They could be about to double their lead. That's a lovely clearance and transition there from Oxygen. Vatira's going to catch it. Who knows what's going to happen in a minute? Exotic, look at him. He's circling. He's desperate for that ball, and he thinks that his French teammate's going to get it to him.
I like Exotic moving immediately to the center, and he's thinking, I'm here. I'm here to score this if
Somehow
needs be.
You'll find it.
Yes, but instead, that time he wasn't quite able to. Itachi up for that double.
Oh.
It's wonderful, but Archie is wonderfuler. As now it falls out to Joris on that right wing with only 30 boots. He has to go for the double. Nearly gets it with Vatira pouncing on that backboard. He clears it away halfway in this game, and we are still dead level 1-all.
I feel like we're now at the point in this series where both teams are completely warm. The mechanics are in full flow.
Yeah.
Everything is working. If there's going to be any goals for the next couple of games, it's not going to be due to mistakes. It's going to be due to individual or even team brilliance. Archie's capable of his own. He just bangs that one into the top corner. Exotic puts it out wide, but it's Oxygen that currently have the higher ground. Only around the back, he's missed it, so Vatira can come forward. Now it's KC's turn. Vatira to the ceiling, should be able to beat Jorias here. Doesn't, but it falls to Exotic, who gets it back to his teammate, who is absolutely boiling hot right now. Where's this one landing? I just feel like any second, Stumpy, we're going to see something spectacular.
And Vatira's on the ceiling doing a helicopter, so potentially it's going to come from him, but instead of flying sky high, he falls back to the ground, and Archie lets that ball go towards Exotic, gets the redirect! Magic is made on Wasteland.
Magic is made on Wasteland, and it's been brewing for the last couple of minutes. Something was going to happen. In the end, it was Archie with a pinch perfect redirect into that top corner. Oxygen take the lead. They might take the lead in this series as well at this rate.
Wonderful play. I love him just lurking for a minute like, okay, if this ball comes perfectly to me, I will be able to get that redirect. The defense, I think, thought it was a possibility it was going to come in because they had it semi-covered, but just not quite enough. Demo coming in as well, but Vatira managing to stay in the way for the double save with such little boost too. He made wonderful progress with that ball. Nearly gets the dunk on Archie from that backboard, but the three-man passing plays out of defense for Oxygen. They are keeping KC shut down.
They've got 1 minute and 12 seconds left of KC. They have to get a goal. Where does it begin? Is it with Vatira? It has been so many times this series. Not that time. Attaching towards Vatira, but it's closed down at source. Good play from Oxygen, good defending. How is your defending? Are you able to keep this ball out and not even think about scoring? Vatira, again, that dribble's not going to work. Itachi has to do some saving. That was a slightly loose one from Vatira, and credit to Oxygen, they were straight on it. But now he has a chance again. Vatira into the corner. It's Exotic's turn. He shoots quickly. It's just past. Itachi into the center. Exotic is there. But Jorius closes it down.
Inspirational speed from Jorius too. Manages to get the almighty touch away from that back six. Vatira up in the sky. Can he get that flip reset over the top? No, instead he goes for the bumper. Archie wasting the floor for the sheer insurance. Jorius from the backboard is able to get to that ball first as well. Final 20 seconds counting down with Vatira. They have to get a play soon. And is there going to be more magic here?
Oxygen's hands will be so sweaty right now. They cannot take their eyes off this for a split second the way KC are playing. Exotic's touch is closed down by Oli. Itachi wants to launch a volley forward, but he's just charged down by Jorius. Archie steams in, a huge win for him. Oli could finish it. It's going to go in. It's going to be 3-1 Oxygen, and it's going to be 3-2 Oxygen in games.
The blue wall looking like it might need a Mason because there's nobody who is able to shut down this Oxygen team at the moment. It's 3-2. The comeback from Oxygen to turn it around, considering the game they had for game number 3, I believe it was, when they lost that one 4 or 5-1. It has been a different team that are playing. And Karmine Corp calling that Mason in with that timeout coming.
I'm not surprised at all. I mean, there's not too much that I can think that Karmine would want to change based on what I'm seeing. All I can really think is that wasn't a Karmine-style game. That was a slogathon. That was a who's got the best mechanics over the span of 5 minutes. It ended up being Oxygen on that occasion. Could have gone Karmine's way, but I think Stumpy going forwards, they want to control the narrative just that little bit more.
I hope that also, depending on what happens in this series, Vatira gets enough money to buy a lamp for his room. I think he really deserves that. You know, he wants to be bathed in light. Maybe now is not the time. He has to save on those energy bills, but Karmine Corp, they need to get a lot more going because that was the complete Oxygen control in it. Don't get me wrong, Karmine, they had a few chances. They had 5 shots in the end, but that's just one more than Archie had on his own. That has been a real standout game for Archie, for me personally, where he was contributing in every aspect of the game so influentially.
Maybe Vatira and Jorius can go halves on a lamp and sort of share it and have it sort of one regional each, maybe. That'd be really quite nice. But they can worry about that in a little while longer. For now, they have to worry about this upcoming Game 6. We are loading into Neo Tokyo, where perhaps Oxygen will win their org's first ever regional championship in the RLCS. They joined at the start of RLCS X. I believe that was with Astral. I believe they were the hot team. I think it was Chaussette as well, all those years ago now. It's been a long time since those days. Yeah, I'm calling my memory here. It might be looking silly. But the point I'm trying to make is that these are guys who have been in this scene for a very long time, and perhaps they're about to finally have their achievement.
They took a little holiday over to North America.
They did.
You know, they were over there for a little bit during 2021, and then brought it back towards the end of this year, the start of this season, picking up another European team. And it is something that you don't necessarily see happening too often, where an org goes from, okay, we're in Europe, okay, fence to North America now, okay, yeah, now we're back in Europe again. You don't see those changes happen too much. Dignitas, for example, they have done the opposite. They've gone from North America, then did an unbelievable European run, as we all know, and then went back to North America again for this season. So lots of change-ups. But what is eternal is Bob and his ramen. He will never finish that bowl, but will Oxygen be able to finish this series?
We'll never even finish that mouthful, just continually trying to get it down. And good luck to you, Bob. And good luck to these 6 players. Which one steps up now? Karmine Corp just about slowed down a little bit, but there was a period in that last game where all of these players were just tremendously quick. That is a mistake. Maybe the energy level's starting to drop. There's a miss as well. Somehow it's not gone in. It's hit the crossbar. First a mistake from Vatira, but Oxygen couldn't make the most of it.
But Vatira had to instantly land and then flip out the way. Otherwise, he was taking that shot. He was just putting that in. Archie, I don't know how he didn't get it, though. Maybe just a slight bump, a little touch. Maybe thought that Vatira was going to get it, so he tried to dunk him. Whatever happened, this game is still 0-0, despite that chance.
I've got a theory that Neo Tokyo is always, in a best of 7, is always the messiest game. It's where the energy levels start to drop. You know, you're on 6, you get through this one, then for 7, everyone rallies and they're playing well again. This is where we start to see a few mistakes creeping in. The energy has dropped. You know, it's intense. The amount of concentration these players have to do and the decisions they have to make over the course of a, hour-long series or so. But yeah, that's just my little theory.
I think your little theory is wonderful, mate, to be honest. And that shot was a little bit far from it. Somehow the saves coming in and the shots coming in from 4 different players on that. But pressure from Oxygen isn't yet finding back net of Karmine Corp. On the right wing, Archie's going to push forward with 53 boost. It falls to Oli, who just picked up that mid, and so this push can be speedy, but instead outsped by Itachi on that play. Archie heading towards the net, just asking a question of Astro. And I like those plays by players when they send it towards the net, just to remind them you cannot leave this open at any moment, by the way.
Archie's on the backboard. I wondered if he was going to get some sort of doomsday dish right there. For a second, it looked on. Not quite to be. The ball just wasn't quite there. The angle's quite right. In case he now have a little bit of control.
Only pre-jump.
Yeah,
that's what he was doing earlier on in the series, what he was doing back in the Swiss. That is how you know that he is playing confidently, because his read of the game, to me, just seems second to none. Whenever he's going for those pre-jumps, it's because he's confident he's going to get the ball.
Itachi's going to win this race. Actually, no one's going to challenge him at all. It's going to be Joris. He's waiting for him to hit it. Quite a few examples of that so far as that team pinch comes in. You were mentioning it, mate. It's the meta. It's the new future. We're going to see one of those sail into the top corner at some point.
I don't know why now. I don't know now why it's suddenly becoming a bit of a meta, but I like it. I'm here for a good pinch. And going to the top corner, Archie's able to save that one away for Tira. It's a pretty decent shot halfway through this game. Still 0-0. Oli bouncing it off that corner with Vatira to send it long, and Jorias who shuts down in the midfield, but Archie is up and will be taking over that defense.
It's definitely a more defensive game than the last one. There's a lot of clean shots and clean saves from having one, maybe even 2 players on the goal line trying to keep it out. Who's going to be the first to break through that? KC have to make something happen. Oxygen at least have a couple of chances if they lose this game.
He's on his own.
About to put Oxygen in the lead. He was completely stranded and he scored it.
In the sky, flying solo, Archibald. There's a bump coming in, I think, from Oli on Exotic. Vatira had to cover up somewhere. But that team play, just seeing that Archie is able to go for a double, then Oli immediately committing to go for the bumps, it's exactly what Archie needed. Otherwise, that was definitely being defended.
Oh, Exotic, maybe a pinch, lining itself up. KC needs to score. They have to get back into this game in order to stay in the series, in the grand final, in the tournament. Itachi is close down. That one could be going all the way in. I think it is. It's 2-0 from nothing.
On our first Neo Tokyo of the day, we are seeing these plays that come out from Archie, the double goal. And just, as he said, just seeing it land right next to Vatira, you think maybe he can get to it. Maybe he's able to get a flick over. Instead, he fakes away from that ball, isn't able to get any touch. And what a play from Archie, just to identify it's open. We said earlier, they just kept punching that net, kept saying, you cannot leave this open, we're going to be scoring. And yet, despite those warnings, they were not heeded.
Jorias, whom with Archie spent so long looking for their third player. Eventually, they discovered that Oli was staring them in the face that whole time. Jorias' fellow Dutchman. We had Holland versus Spain at the start of this one. The Dutch are taking over the scene, it would seem, at least in EU, if they can keep this one going. Archie's up, the Englishman, the lone one left. He clears it as long as he possibly can. Itachi's there in the corner. It was his mistake that led to Oxygen's first goal. Normally so dependable. Are Karmine Corp looking like a busted flush? Perhaps not. None of this sinks in. Exotic shoots! Archie gets the save again! Exotic still Oxygen still keep themselves with a clean sheet.
Archie, the man of the minute. The double tap over Vatira wanted to go for that triple in the end, but saved away again by Archie. He has been phenomenal. The legwork he has given forward for Oxygen against KC is otherworldly. And a bump from him secures the third, and Jorius gets on the score sheet.
Look at this, Archie's just bouncing around, causing havoc everywhere he goes. Get out the goal, Itachi! No chance even for a mistake this time. Archie's not having it. Jorius has given Oxygen the 3-0 lead. Surely these last 40 seconds are their victory lap. It could be another Jorius towards Archie. Archie's just waiting, swallowing up so much time, Stumpy.
Slowing the ball down, and it just starts to set in, I think, for Oxygen as an org, for the players. The last time we saw Jorius here was back in Winter Regional 1 last season. That's the last time he was even in a grand final, let alone winning. Archie, it has been since Fall Regional 3 last year. And Oli, he has never tasted the victory of a regional championship. And yet, alongside Oxygen, he will be doing it. Jorius, Oli, and Archie are your inaugural European champions.
As soon as this ball doesn't even touch the floor, it goes in. A finish with a flourish for Oxygen. Wow, what a start for them. What a beginning for this team. Finally, we see one of these regionals, Stumpy, not be won by BDS or Moist. And it's Oxygen Esports that managed to see it away. What a team this is. We debated Spain versus the Netherlands at the start. The Netherlands have just taken a massive step forward under the Oxygen Esports banner.
And I will say, 2 Englishmen on the side as well, in Archie and Billy. I'm counting the coach for this one to make us 2 all. Yeah, don't worry about it. Amazing performance. There's nothing that Oxygen could have done better